Today we're going to explore a wonderful poem titled A Tiger in the Zoo by Leslie Norris. This poem beautifully contrasts the life of a tiger in the wild with the miserable reality of a tiger in captivity. Through vivid imagery and powerful words, the poet makes us feel the tiger's frustration and helplessness. Let's break it down stanza by stanza and understand its deeper meaning. Stanza 1. He stalks in his vivid stripes, the few steps of his cage, on pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. Here the poet describes a tiger that is trapped in a zoo. He is majestic with his bright orange and black striped body, but instead of roaming freely in the jungle, he is confined to a small cage. The word stalks shows his restrained movements. He can only take a few steps within his enclosure. His movements are silent as he walks on his pads of velvet quiet, meaning his soft paws make no noise. But inside, the tiger is not calm. He is full of quiet rage, meaning he is angry and frustrated but cannot express it. He knows he should be in the wild, yet he is forced to live in this restricted space. Stanza 2. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the waterhole, where plump deer pass. Now the poet tells us where the tiger truly belongs. Instead of being trapped in a zoo, he should be moving stealthily through the jungle, hiding in the shadows of trees and waiting near the waterhole where deer come to drink. This is his natural way of life, hunting, being free, and surviving in the wild. The phrase plump deer shows that the tiger has plenty of food in the forest, unlike in a zoo where he is fed by humans. Stanza 3. He should be snarling around houses, at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. This stanza paints another scene of a tiger's natural behavior. Sometimes tigers roam near villages at the edge of jungles, snarling and showing their sharp fangs and claws. They instill fear in people, asserting their dominance as wild, powerful creatures. However, this also hints at the conflict between humans and wildlife. Often, tigers come close to human settlements when forests are destroyed, forcing them out of their habitat. Stanza 4. But he's locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Now the poet brings us back to the harsh reality. The tiger is no longer in the jungle. He is locked in a concrete cell with metal bars that keep him confined. His strength and power, which should be displayed in the wild, are now meaningless in captivity. He has no freedom, and his only activity is pacing back and forth in his small cage. He doesn't care about the visitors who come to see him, because he knows they can leave, but he cannot. Stanza 5. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. In the final stanza, we see a heartbreaking image of the tiger at night. The zoo becomes silent, but the tiger is still awake, listening to the distant sound of patrolling cars. He cannot sleep peacefully because his heart longs for the jungle. The poem ends with a powerful contrast, the tiger's brilliant eyes staring at the brilliant stars. This could symbolize his desire for freedom, as the stars remind him of the open sky that he can no longer roam under. This poem delivers a strong message about freedom versus captivity. It shows how animals, especially wild ones like tigers, do not belong in cages. They are meant to roam freely in nature, hunt for food, and live according to their instincts. The poet highlights the cruelty of keeping such a majestic creature locked away, unable to express its true self. Another important theme is human interference in nature. When humans destroy forests, wild animals have no choice but to enter human settlements, causing conflict. Instead of keeping them in zoos, we should focus on conserving their natural habitats. So class, what do you think? Doesn't this poem make us feel sad for the tiger? It reminds us that every creature deserves freedom. Imagine if you were locked in a small room all your life. Wouldn't you feel frustrated too? This poem is a wake-up call for us to respect nature and wild animals. Instead of putting them in cages, we should work towards protecting forests and wildlife reserves where they can live freely. Now, let me ask you, do you think zoos are good for animals, or do you believe they should only be in the wild? Comment down your opinion and don't forget to subscribe.